Now let's talk about of could be successor or failure of getting the new movie fixed, because a lot of people have this sort of strange idea this movie technically flopped, even not yet premiered on Netflix yet. It's because it's the reaction of people feeling this is not worth watching. And that is true, but the only problem is this is straight to digital, specifically on Netflix. And that itself has really won before you actually realize, because you have to kind of ask your question is how much they actually make this movie, especially a 2D animated movie. If you don't know, 2D animated movies usually are a tad cheaper, especially if you're trying to understand how much you're gonna make, because they do have the numbers. They do know who are gonna watch it and how much profit they're gonna make. So they have a standard of making a sort of budget relevant to the numbers they have on their own table, in other words. And usually these type of films are basically put on to 60 to 80 billion dollars, because usually that type of films are not 100% sure they'll become winners, like The Bad Guys, or basically what's the other DreamWorks movie? Dogman. Those films are made around 60 to 80 billion dollars, but if case they had cold feet, they actually sell it to the streamers to see how much money they get. Usually they buy it to 100 to 120 billion dollars off of them. That's allowed them to actually make a little profit, to 40 to 60 million dollars, just making the movie and sell it to the streamer companies. Now I have to stop here because I had to introduce me. I'm sorry I have to stop the conversation. But this is the first time on my channel. My name is Richo. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, pull like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine if you do. Thank you, because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People who like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let's continue out the conversation of if this is a failure of or is a success of Fix. Now let's get started. So this is what I mean, that it really did had one, but especially if you sell it to Netflix, because let's face it, people who watch Netflix are trained to click the button because they're curious. They were hoping there'd be a masterpiece, and this is the reason why it was a smart idea to sell Bessie Fix to Netflix. At least, not the very beginning. That was the strategy, because let's face it, when they make this type of films, they do have a game plan. There's not black and white. In fact, this is the reason why a lot of people think, oh, like for example, like Kraven the Hunter, that was a failure on the box office, but yet it was actually did make money. How? Well, how they make money is pretty simple, because they actually rent the film, also allow them later on to buy it. Also, they actually allowed to basically give it to or let people buy it from them to put it on the stream. They have multiple ways to recoup their money. They just need to at least break even or close enough to break even to make profit. So that's why the people who make movies are very wise how much to give it to actually make profit. Not a lot of it, but they did calculate if it was a failure and decided to still greenlit it, because the very end they know people were curious enough to watch it in theaters. They just did it because they know they make money. And that's it. It had to be a really powerful failure to actually affect the money flow of whatever project. In fact, a good, interesting sort of comparison is sort of a TV series, a reboot one called Powerpuff Girls. That reboot back 2016, I think I remember that reboot was that lasted, I think, about 3 seasons or 4. I think it was 3 seasons, and technically that was a success, right? No, Cartoon Network made that a completely failure. All the stats they thought they would get didn't get that passing number. Even that was a success. This is the reason why they keep making season after season. They did not get what they actually wanted of it. So they consider it as a failure. That is just so interesting because you don't know what is considered a success to failure with a company because they understand what they're making. Is the question is how to sell it. Even that, let's say Fix still decided to go to theaters, even let's say it was a failure. Sony know this. This is the reason why they made it really cheap because the very end, their money is not on the theaters. They actually on streaming and rental fees because the very end they make the money back pretty easy just by renting the film. Especially people who go to out of town or specifically out of different countries. They have between 3 to 8 hours, something like 12 hours, and they see a fixed movie or whatever, see right in front of the face. They just don't care. They just press it because they have about 10 hours of doing nothing or even more hours. So it makes it easier just to rent it. So this would make sense why Sony doesn't really care how good or bad the film is. It's because the very end it will be successful. But once more, if you want to measure success of Netflix, it's sort of the opposite. It's not how much money they invested in it, it's how much watch time and people talking about it to actually make this a success. It sounds weird, but this is what they think about people who actually just stream movies. It's all about how many people willing to watch the film. This is the reason why they have a sort of like a page on Netflix showing you the most popular, how many people watch it, and how long it will last that week or second week every single week to understand you how popular it really is. And this is sort of interesting because sometimes you think a bad movie would not be successful. Like apparently Fix. We don't know do this recording will be successful or not, but Fix will chart on Netflix at least a top 5. That means it's a success because they paid the movie. The question is how many people will watch weekly if it goes bigger, and that's the thing they're actually waiting for. This is the reason why they have a formula of wait to see the reaction of people. No more people react to it, the more negative or positive people are curious. This is basically a train wreck or a masterpiece. And if people more talking about it, the more people want to watch it to see what people talk about it. Why are you complaining or cheering about? And this is why Netflix biggest strength, people reaction, and also the another best strength is people who just click it because are they completely trained to watch anything, because the people who click watch this film has sort of an idea in the head. They know this could be a masterpiece. It could be. They could be wrong. But they willing to give it a chance for a few minutes. It's more comfortable just clicking on it instead of actually paying the money on the theaters, because at the very end it's more time consuming. You actually spend money. You know you actually bought Netflix for that month and you could have spent that month. You could watch everything you can because I spend $10. I'm gonna watch everything what they have to offer. And this is the biggest strength of Netflix. This is the reason why I think that Fix will be completely successful, because let's face it, how many of you watch a Korean, Middle Eastern, France type of movie show just because it's on Netflix? You know it recommended you, you know your taste, so you will give it a chance. Of course, I want to say good 80% of you would just click it for a few minutes because you know your algorithm, you know what is your type of flavor. If it does recommended it, it means you probably like it. This is the reason why a lot of people are giving more chance to go to theater, watch foreign films more than actually American films, because they probably maybe like it, and that's sort of input in their heads, just giving a chance to give it to see what it is. And that's just interesting because let's face it, Netflix is just a completely different beast. I kind of glad they will actually sold it to Netflix to make people watch it. Even that people were complaining, even that is super strange. After they dropped the second trailer or the official trailer, people actually received it more positively. Like people are just curious if this is worth watching. Even that the fan base of Giddy, who will support anything he makes, will actually give it a chance. Maybe because the fan base is very old, because they grew up with Gindi, watching his multiple shows. And also, Gindi fans kind of knew, yeah, Gindi is the type of guy. He is one of us. So we will watch it. Just we hope it doesn't have a bad ending, because it's one of the things everybody knows. Guinea has the Guineanisms, that sort of ending, like, oh my god, why? But for me, I do have hope, because the Rotten Tomato, they have a few critics reviewing it. Give it, last time I watched it, like 90% of it was positive, just one bad review. Even that one bad review, they just says, yeah, I love Gindi, but this is not for me. That itself tells you a lot, because the critic knows this is not my type of genre, but maybe you will like. Even though it's a negative, that's just impressive, because everybody says, yeah, this is good, but be aware this is a genre you will like it or you hate it. But we do recommend it, yes. That itself blows me away. So I'm wondering how many people will spend this on a negative sort of kind of view, because let's face it, animation is not well received in Hollywood for one or another reason, because they don't really care about it. They don't think it's cinema or something very beautiful. Just setting more cartoons. I mean, why you corrupt setting more cartoons? Usually you hear this a lot with this type of animation projects. They not realize animation is for everyone. There are different completely genres that people will enjoy, but doesn't really matter, because things are changing. It's you have to see it, like what happened to Demon Hunter, that how successful that was. Also how successful new adult cartoons are being. Even that they're trying to follow the same lane, but you seeing they give it a divide of PG-13 and rated R. It's just getting more clearer and clearer, more successful in each different version. That means they will try more PG-13, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, K-Pac Demon Hunter, and hopefully other new kind of teenage semi-adult cartoons would change the game. For right now, let's hope this will be super successful. I know it'll be successful. I know should be around the number 5 or number 2 range for the first week. It's the second week we're about to find out and actually took charge and how many people would talk about it. Hopefully it stays there, because at the very end, if Gindi proves if the people want more adult films, more artistic adult films, because let's face it, a lot of Hollywood executives don't understand taking the right lessons, what type of cartoons people actually like, understanding there are completely different genres. Because let's face it, Enter the Spider-Verse should be a lesson of all Hollywood learning, oh, people want PG-13s, except they learn a different lesson, that, oh, everybody like the art style, not because the story actually was good. That I don't know why they took that lesson. They should took a lesson is take more risks of PG-13 type of films. And no, I mean PG-13 animated films. But no. But who knows? Because Sony is the only one who taking risks, because it's Sony. He knows he could get away with it because they have sort of deal with Netflix. If they have cold feet, just give it to Netflix and they get the money back. At least broke even. Especially if you don't realize Sony is actually making a Venom movie, an animated film, supposed to be a rated R film. If they don't have cold shoulders and get it and sell it to Netflix, hopefully they put it in the theaters, things would start changing. Because not Netflix, Sony nowadays. Sony is one of those companies who I don't know how to explain. They're just a bipolar company who doesn't know what they're doing, and yet they are the ones who being successful. Who knows? Maybe the ones who know what people want, and that we not yet realize they're geniuses. I don't know how you hope up about this. You hoping a fix will be the successor, the one who proves animated movies, especially adult animated films, movies they actually want, or they actually bring back 2D, one or the other. That hopefully Hollywood will learn the lesson. Hopefully this will be successful, and it will be. I honestly believe this will be successful because it's especially Netflix. Like it's obvious, it should be at least trending, not number one, but at least a top a three or top five because it's Netflix. But I don't know what you think. You think will be successful or semi-successful, or you want a few people will be completely failure. Nobody wants this, and yet you realize there is sort of a huge group of people who want this. They're there. It's just you need to feed them. I don't know you. That's my opinion. Tell me yours. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.